Throwing jabs, always full send. Here we go again. Jared, Joe, and Jay's Clover Crest. Top three corner man. Punching in with a puncher's chance. We find a way to win. The main event, locked it in. Every Saturday at 10. The overhand is out of hand when it comes to fisticuffs. Slide a hand on the undercard, you'll never see the punch. Uppercut, got you missing weight. Feet are stepping late. Keep your guard up, feeling faint. From a feint, take a stand and eight. Then retaliate. Put up your duke, stick and move. Bob and weave. Don't lose hope against the ropes. There's always an escape. Never stay down. One more round. Bells ringing. Counter punch with your chin tucked and go down swinging. We bringing crosses with no worship, hooks with no verses, combinations with no locks. When you feel the flurry, it's curtains. From scrub scraps to fight stats, relax if you want the facts, cause the best combat podcast is Throwing Jabs.
Welcome to the Throwing Jabs podcast. I am Joe McGuire along with Jared Jones, our homeboy. Jace Garcia will not be joining us today. We've got a lot to talk about. And oddly enough, Jared, it's sad that he's not here because he didn't make any ridiculous picks that he would have had to defend. That's
Locked out.
It's a part I feel bad about. So we'll start things off, do a quick recap of some of the fights from last week. The Korean Zombie, Jen Sung Jung, defeated Dan Ige via unanimous decision. It was a great effort, I thought, by the Korean Zombie, the kind of fight he needed in his return. Jared, the question is, can the Korean Zombie get back into the featherweight title picture after this fight?
I want to say yes. He strikes me as the kind of guy with the skill set that could give anybody problems on a given night. And this was a perfect example because I totally expected Ige to dominate the clinches and the ground position. And Jung's skill set's a little bit different than that. So that's why I ended up picking Ige, was based on grappling and ground control. And he didn't look better anywhere. So, yeah, I think, he gets the right opportunities and he can make it work. This is the type of guy that can make it work. He's just engaging with a different kind of skill set, just in the fact that he literally can give any person problems on any given night.
Now, he is 34 years old. I do think he definitely has himself back in the conversation. Unfortunately, in that featherweight division, he's a little stacked right now. Volkanovski and Ortega scheduled for later this year. You got Holloway and Rodriguez also probably going to get rebooked, which I think for him, maybe, and again, with the Korean Zombie's penchant to constantly be a main event, maybe a fight with him and Edson Barboza while he waits for the winners of those fights to square off for the championship. So I think Zombie could be like 2 fights away here. If he were to get Barboza and take care of business, he could legit, maybe by early next year, if not at the end of this year, be fighting, I think, for a championship.
It's not beyond the realm of possibility. It's a little bit of a stretch. Like you said, it's stacked up there. But the guys that win get the shots, so keep winning. Yeah, he's 2 or 3 fights off for sure.
Yeah, like you said, boy, you got to win. You really got to keep on winning. Maybe next up for Ige, Sodiq Youssef is coming off a loss, and this could be a good match for them. Somebody stays in the top 10, somebody probably doesn't. But I think that's probably his best bet right now. Interesting
experience over skills that Tony just said. That Donaire gave us that a few weeks ago, where I thought the younger guy, the skill level, the trajectory, and nope. Yeah, you want to take that experience, and Jung is one of the better guys in the UFC when it comes to all around skill set and experience.
Oh yeah, and he proved it. Big win for him. So very excited. I'm a big Zombie fan. It was nice to see him get a big win like that. Now, let's talk about Jermall Charlo. He retained his WBC middleweight belt with a unanimous decision against Juan Macias Montiel. I mean, Charlo obviously won the fight, and kudos to him for staying undefeated. However,
and active.
Montiel, I got to tell you, Jared, I mean, how did this guy survive? I mean, I was so impressed by him. This guy, especially late, man, he started landing some punches, and obviously way too little too late. But for me, and I keep saying this when these guys get in the ring, man, Charlo's got to finish this guy. There is no excuse in the world, Jared, to put out that kind of. You got to blow these guys out the door. There's so many of these guys, right? In this weight, all avoiding each other, taking these lesser fights. That's fine then. Until you could square up with who you want, you got to blow these guys out. Plain and simple.
Oh, I don't like people talking about Montiel doing well and not saying Charlo got exposed. It shouldn't depend on the fighters. It should depend on the fight. You know, if Haney got exposed, so did Charlo. The problem I have here, and it happened last night with Miles Jury, if anybody saw the fight, but he was dominated for like 14 minutes, had a guy on his back. There was not a moment in that 14 minutes that, and the fight lasted 14:33, but there wasn't a moment in that 14 and a half minutes where you thought Miles Jury might win. The first 7 seconds in 2 out of the 3 rounds, the guy was on his back. Within the first 30 seconds, they were on the ground. And then they walked away, and Miles Jury's like shrugging to the booing crowd. I don't know what the heck I was supposed to do. I just couldn't get him off me. He attached himself to me like a tick and then didn't go away for 15 minutes and then won the fight. Now, the issue I had walking away from it was thinking, if I'm fighting somebody, we're having a fist fight, and I outclass you and dominate you 100-0 all the way through for 15 live minutes, 14 and a half live fighting minutes, and you walk out without a mark on your face, not exhausted, not beat up. I dominate somebody for 14 minutes, they're probably going to the hospital. They're going to need to get checked out. I don't care who they are. If you're in the dominant position and you're paid for this, I'm not talking about a scrub scrap now. I'm talking about 2 guys at the highest level of the game in mixed martial arts. If you dominate somebody that thoroughly, you get them out of there. And this is an example of it in boxing. You dominate that thoroughly. Don't you want to? The jury was giving him times to squeak over into the mount and rein something in, and he just didn't want to. He just didn't want to. I'm just going to lay on you and take this. And these guys, you're right. When you get to that point, if you're not going to finish, one of 3 things needs to happen. You're going to finish, you're going to try like hell to finish, or you're going to Devin Haney. Get clipped, trying, hang on for the rest of the fight and win. That's why I didn't have a problem with what Haney did. You tried to go out there and get the stop. You went after it, you got clipped a few times, and then you hang on and win the fight. Like a 22-year-old grizzled vet. That's what Haney looked like to me. Charlo didn't do that. He didn't put himself in danger. He didn't go after you. You got to stop these guys, and his brother's going to lose his fight. I've been saying it since they booked it. His brother's going to lose to Casero. Yeah, and it's that these guys aren't as good of performers as they have been billed. They are more social media than skill level. They are less Loma and Bud Crawford and more Prince Nassim Hamed and Conor McGregor.
He needed something more explosive to make the case for him fighting Canelo, says Tony Aguirre in the comments.
Yes.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. And even an absolute domination would have made a statement. The close fight does nothing for him, which is unfortunate. And now here's my thought. Oddly enough, does Canelo see that fight and think, "Yeah, I'll do that then"?
No.
Or does this maybe cost him the fight with Canelo next?
I don't think. I mean, I see that argument. This guy's touchable, but I don't think we're being responsible as members of the media if we lay any credence to that. Oh, that looks like a guy I can beat. That's not. I don't want to look at my fighters like that. So no, I don't think doing less than you could have done in a fight is ever a good thing. I don't ever want to be rewarding you coasting unless we're at scraps. If you're better than another guy and we're doing it for that, coast, carry him, fine. You're being paid to entertain. Go finish that guy. Get out there and finish that guy. Dominate me for 48 minutes and then I go have coffee. This is a fist fight, dude. Somebody has their way with you for 48 minutes. Yeah. Just go have some ice cream and stuff.
Alex Prue agrees. He thinks you're right. Not that you and I are arguing. I don't know. I don't know what he's right about. Did I say something that was wrong? What?
No, I think it was to the Charlos just being more flair than substance.
So there's been some talk, mostly by Eddie Hearn, about Demetrius Andrade and Charlo fighting, but Charlo doesn't seem interested in Andrade at all. I don't blame him, which makes me wonder if moving to 168's not in the cards for Jermar Charlo, because there's some better fights up there for him. I think better
run up from people.
Yeah. If
you're going to run from people, run down.
Sure, but I think if you look at 168, maybe David Benavidez, that's a guy who's actually called for him. I would love to personally fight Caleb Plant. He's available if Canelo doesn't grab him next. So I think he's got better options up there, and then it doesn't look like he's ducking people.
There are a host of Callums and Liams he can fight. I love the Andrade fight. I think Tony's right. It's a nice, boring decision for Andrade, but it exposes Charlo, who he is. It's two guys that nobody really wants to fight, that you get them in there to fight each other, and then we figure out which one gets Canelo. That's the easiest way to do this. You guys are both arguing for over Canelo. Fight each other and see who gets the shot. That's what I want to happen. And yeah, boring. Nice, boring decision. And unless Charlo gets stung, I could see Andrade stopping Charlo.
Triple G.
Turning 50.
I mean, if you're Triple G and you're looking at these young guys, I mean, I don't know. Who you like? Who would you want? At this point, I'd be all right with Charlo.
Yeah, that's a good fight.
He needs a name. I'm a name. I think I could take this guy. I think that could work out really nice.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, very disappointed. And again, Montiel, just one more time, kudos.
Well done, kid.
Standing in the pocket and just banging the whole way through. And really, I thought picking it up at the end. Overmatched and outclassed this poor guy was. But, man, that's the kind of heart, Jared, that I'm sure you, as someone who trains fighters, to see a guy go out there, especially when the fight's, you get to the 10th round, the fight's over. You had already lost. And then now it's more pride to stand there, finish out the championship rounds. Thoughts on that? Because I was so impressed by the way this guy banged.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of what Miles was saying the other day. I got him in the second round. After the first round, I was like, holy cow, this kid's got no idea what he's doing out there. He's a $190. He's mismatched, and this is not the position I really wanted to put him in for his first fight. He came back, sat down. I did the best I could. He went out for the second round. He did the best he could. Came back to the stool, and I had forgotten about it. He reminded me during the podcast, but when he said it, I remembered it so vividly, going in the corner and just going right around his face and going, "You have all of the things that I can't teach you, and none of the things that I can."
Yeah, I love it.
So hang in there, kid. 2 more minutes of this, and then we'll get some training. You'll get better at this. But I can't teach those things Montiel did in the ring. I don't care who your trainer is. I do not care who your trainer is. This goes back to parents, grandparents, ancestors, the very inside of yourself where you either have that or don't have it. And I can't teach that to you. Miles had that. I saw him getting his ass kicked and he didn't want to go away. He wanted to keep trying, and there weren't a lot of chances for him to win, but I'm not going to rob him of that. You know, like you said, minus 600, and you're going in there, kind of everybody knows what's going to happen. It becomes a pride thing. You go out on your shield, you know, and you can't teach somebody how to do that. You can't teach them, they get hit a few times and get squirmy. That's how most people are. That's just the majority of us. Like I said, oh, never tap. I'm not that guy either. You get my arm, you're about to break it, I'm tapping. I'll break something, fight's over, man. Even a couple fingers. I mean, depending on what I'm fighting for, if it's, you know, a 60-40 purse, I'll take the 40 and the broken finger. I mean,
we got some fight previews coming up in a few minutes, and one of the people we're going to talk about is Alexander Volkov. And I've noticed that, and this happens more with Russians and Eastern European fighters than anyone else, getting knocked out in the last 10 seconds of a round. Because, again, and we'll talk about this in a bit, but I'm just... occurred to me now the fight with Derek Lewis, where this guy's winning the fight for 4 minutes and 45 seconds, absolutely putting on a master class. Now, I was just watching the fight the other day, and I said to my brother, I go, if that was John Jones, John wouldn't have been anywhere near the beast. He would have been dancing around the ring celebrating, but there was Volkov like an idiot.
We can't have both. Not like an idiot. Not like an idiot.
Know.
We can't have it both ways. If we want our guys to finish the fight,
love it.
You can't down Volkov as an idiot and then say Charlo didn't go finish the fight and he doesn't deserve these big fights because he didn't go after it. Volkov went after it.
But so listen, and that's the problem, right? Like I want my guys to do that, but then I don't. I don't when they get knocked out, I guess is what I'm saying.
Depends how much my guys they are. If they're like personal friends of mine, don't do that to yourself. You know, like Andrade, I bring it up every other week. The people who want you to go to war are not the same people who are going to show up in the hospital for you. You know, you want to be great and do it for a long time, do it like the guy Volkov's fighting tonight. Cyril Game, find a way to close all the windows and not allow yourself to have pockets where you can be knocked out, because sooner or later somebody's going to throw a hand in that window and you're going to wake up with blood on your face.
Now, I could pull that comment about Jared being right, because you certainly nailed this fight. Nailed it. Inoue TKO'd Michael Dasmariñas in the third round to retain the WBA and the IBF bantamweight belts. And my God, did he do it in unbelievable style? Three punches to the liver. I think what surprised me the most was that Dasmariñas got up from the first one and the second one. That third one, he must have been absolutely dying inside. Here's my whole thing, right? One of the two big things I piss and moan about most are guys that don't throw good jabs, which obviously sets it all up, and guys that work the body. Work the body. Inoue showed you, Jared, as he's done many times before, that he can end a fight with a body punch, which, as you know, are devastating. And for people who don't understand that, can you, first of all, explain a liver shot and what happens to your body when you're hit in the liver?
Richard Pryor, I think, gave the best instance of this. He says you get hit in the body and you ready to dance and your brain goes, psh, is that all you got? And then your legs go, we're going down. You react to it totally different than you would a headshot. A headshot is like, It is. It's like your head versus the body. Let me give you my favorite 5 from Teddy Atlas. Teddy Atlas says, set the table, then go eat. That's number 1. You wear them down. You bring that power level down. You got those 2 bars in every boxing video game. One of them's your power. The other one's your stamina. You get hit in the head. One of them goes down. You get hit in the body or throw punches. The other one goes down. Set the table, then go eat. Take some air out of the tires. That's what it feels like. Driving with flat tires is like boxing through body shots. Get a few men on base, then go hit the home run. It's the third one. Drag them into the deep end and drown them, and put some water in the basement. Because if anybody's ever been through a house with water in the basement issue, you understand that the foundation is rocked. You know, and the whole house will fall down if the foundation is rocked. And that's what body shots do. They rock the foundation. They sap it. I remember fighting AJ Prue, and he landed a body shot. Boom. And right after he landed it, he backed up. I knew he was tired. So I was like, I have to answer that body shot. This is a close fight. And I threw a 3-punch combination. And I swear I felt it. If there was music playing, it would have went boo, boo, boo. Because the 3 punches went, And that third one I had planned out, but my body was just like, how is your hand going to get there? And threw that last left hook to his body, and we both grunted. Just totally, and that's it. I had this 3-punch combination planned. I had the way to land it. I had the means to land it. I got the physical. I got the access. The punches did land. But to follow that body shot with it meant, body just goes into shutdown mode. You don't have the control. You lose the control of your faculties. Headshots make you light and body shots make you heavy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. You know, here's one of the things. I literally was watching this. We watched this fight this morning. After the second liver shot, Desmarinas kept keeping his backhand up against his body to protect against another body shot. And Inoue fired off, talk about high ring IQ, fired off a left combo to the face. And as he moved in again, obviously Desmarinas had no choice, right? Face or gut. And he put his hands back up, and that was the end of the fight. You know, to watch Inoue, and I mean, first of all, the hand speed is out of this world. The instincts, the ring IQ, the way this guy fights. I mean, I'm now of the mindset that I think he is the best pound for pound fighter in the world. Am I wrong?
I'm not gonna argue that. I don't have another guy I want to throw into that spot and say, or girl, that I want to throw into that spot and say they are better than Inoue. Pound for pound? No. What is he at? 115?
Yeah.
So 230 would be 2 of him. Right? We got a heavyweight. Who's 230? I mean, come on. I'll put 2 Inoues against anybody at 230. 2 Inoues versus Tyson Fury. I'm ready. Book it. It's just a Trilla. They're ready over at Trilla.
Oh, I'm sure.
I just want to ask you, was head or gut a Last Boy Scout reference?
Why, yes, it was.
My man.
I wasn't, it's funny. I threw it out there, and I couldn't even recall as I was saying it until it came out of my mouth, and then I was so proud of myself for saying it, and I thought, no one's going to know what I just said. Thank you, sir. I should have known better.
You're welcome.
All right. We do have a couple fights that we have to preview. We are going to start in the UFC. 2 big heavyweights featured at UFC Fight Night. Gane versus Volkov. Down. Cyril Gane's 31 years old. He's 6'5", with an 81-inch reach and a record of 8-0 with 3 submissions and 3 knockouts. From La Roche-sur-Yon in France, Gane got into martial arts in his early 20s, making his professional kickboxing debut in 2016, winning the AFMT heavyweight title with a second-round knockout of Jeremy Jean. He defended his title 6 times, winning 4 by knockout before switching to MMA in 2018, winning his debut fight with a first-round choke of Bobby Sullivan for the Canadian promotion TKO's vacant heavyweight title. He defended it twice with a second-round knockout of Adam Dijkstra and a first-round TKO of Roger Sousa. In August of 2019, he made his UFC debut with a first-round triangle choke of Rafael Pessoa, and 2 months later submitted Don'Tale Mayes with a heel hook. He closed out 2019 with a dominant unanimous decision over Tanner Boser. However, he did not fight again for a year, as 3 scheduled fights all fell through due to his opponents and himself being injured in training. He returned in December of 2020, taking on UFC legend Junior Dos Santos, and despite the disparity in experience, he put on a great performance, forcing Dos Santos against the cage, dropping him with an elbow, and stopping him with ground and pound. 2 months later, he took on number 3 contender Jairzinho Rozenstruik, controlling the distance with his jab and leg kicks and dominating all of the grappling exchanges to win a lopsided unanimous decision. A fantastic natural athlete, Gane is a proficient technical striker who excels at controlling distance and pace, and has also come a long way in adapting to the grappling side of the sport, as evidenced by his 3 submissions in his 8 victories. Alexander Volkov is 32 years old. He's 6'7", with an 80-inch reach and a record of 33-8 with 22 knockouts and 3 submissions. From Moscow, Russia, he made his professional debut in 2009 with an 80-second knockout of Nikolai Pleshakov. After going 14-3 with 13 stoppages, he had his first major test when he defeated former UFC champion Rico Rodriguez by decision. In 2012, he won the Bellator Heavyweight Championship with a decision over Richard Hale, but in his next fight, lost that belt via first-round knockout to Vitaly Minakov. He bounced back with a 5-fight winning streak, including knockouts of Mark Collada and Mighty Mo, but then dropped 2 straight decisions to Tony Johnson and Czech Congo. He made his UFC debut in 2016, defeating Tim Johnson by decision, and over the next year, followed that up with a decision over Roy Nelson and brutal knockouts over contender Steven Struve and former UFC champion Fabrizio Verdum. On October 6, 2018, he took on powerhouse Derek Lewis, putting on a masterclass and hurting Lewis multiple times. When leading on all 3 judges' scorecards, he was knocked out with a thunderous right cross with only 11 seconds remaining in the fight. After beating Greg Hardy, Volkov dropped a lopsided decision to Curtis Blades, getting out-wrestled and taken down a record 14 times throughout, exposing a major hole in his game. He did come back just 4 months later, and in the second, landed a vicious kick to the midsection of Walt Harris, dropping him instantly and finishing him off with a barrage of punches. On February 6, 2021, he took on veteran Alistair Overeem, dominating the first round, and then blasting out Overeem with a devastating left hook in the second. Perhaps the most polished technical striker in the division, Volkov is patient and measured in his approach, controlling the distance and rarely loading up, preferring to overwhelm his opponents with volume, landing 5.3 strikes per minute while absorbing only 2. Will this be another easy victory and the meteoric rise of Cyril Gane as he takes one step closer to challenging his former sparring partner Francis Ngannou for gold? Or will the height, power, and experience of Volkov prove to be too much as Drago continues to demonstrate that he still belongs at the top of the heavyweight division? Tune in tonight to UFC Gane versus Volkov, and let's find out. Oh boy, what do you think about this fight here?
This is all day.
I'll tell you, I struggle with this one. And the pick that I wrote down, I don't think is going to be the pick that I am going with. So I'll allow you the floor first, sir.
All right. My first question is, who is the best fighter Alexander Volkov beat while they were good? Now, I'm going to read a list of names, and you stop me when I get to the upper echelon elite fighter that he fought, okay? Alistair Overeem at 40. Walt Harris. Curtis Blades, who he lost to. Greg Hardy. Derek Lewis, who he lost to. 58-year-old Fabricio Verdum, Stefan Struve, Roy Nelson, Tim Johnson, Czech Congo, who he lost to. These are all like mediocre. You can have Derek Lewis, but you lost. You can have Blades, but you lost. And you can have Overeem and Verdum, but they're fossils. Has he beat anybody? We're talking about the last fight before a title shot. For what? For what? You lost to the two guys in the top 5. And the two guys you beat with recognizable names? How old is Overeem and Verdum? Verdum's 43. And Overeem is 41. So you beat the two best names on your list were in their 40s when you beat them. And now you're fighting a guy who, like I said, slams windows closed. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster. Minus 145 is not enough. This should be twice that. Easy. Cyril Gane. All day. All day. This is not going to be as close as people think it will. This will expose Volkov for being he's better than everybody who's mediocre.
I just, I literally wrote down my pick as Cyril Gane. That was who I picked. The more I think about it, the more I want to pick Volkov. And like I said earlier, to be fair, I mean, the fight with Lewis, I mean, he won the first 4 minutes and 45 seconds of that fight in dominant fashion, like Stipe did to Ngannou. He was doing to Derek Lewis up until that right hand put him to the floor, and then it was lights out time. So again, and not that Derek Lewis is the model of great guys to beat. I mean, if you're gonna have the kind of fight where you wait for the last 15 seconds to knock a guy out, your name is probably either Jairzinho Rosenstruik or it's Derek Lewis, right? I mean, those two guys will just sit there and wait, and eventually, in almost every fight, land that thing.
Okay, here you go. His last 6 wins. Volkov's last 6 wins. These are the number of losses of his opponents in his last 6 wins. 18, 13, 8, 8, 7, 1. Who's the guy with 1 loss that he beat? 18, 13, 8, 8, 7, and Greg Hardy. Gane hasn't lost 8 fights yet, dude. This is a show for his step-up fight with Ngannou, and I like it. It's going to be a good show. It'll be fun, but he's going to walk over Volkov.
Only has 8 fights in the UFC. Volkov, been there, done that a lot longer. I think for Gane, this is a big step up here. This is, and I think the thing that concerns me about
really though,
yeah.
Now, do you put Rosenstruck with Blades and Lewis? Because I think those 3 are kind of all in the same pocket. Do you put Verdum and who was the 41-year-old? Overeem with Dos Santos? Because I think all of those are kind of the same. He beat Rosenstruck and Dos Santos. You don't think he beats Overeem and Verdum and Greg Hardy? Like, I don't think he's had any less. Granted, there's 2 of those, but Blades and Lewis, he lost to Blades and Lewis. And he's fighting a guy who beat Rosenstruck.
Yeah, but not for nothing. This heavyweight division the last few years, I mean, it's been, well, the last 3 years, I mean, it was Stipe Cormier, and that was all you got. That was it. And so if you're a guy like Volkov, you're fighting whoever. And I don't think there were, I mean, again, why the trilogy?
Do you believe it's those
everybody.
guys?
I do.
Do you believe the best heavyweight is those guys? Do you believe that we've found our champion, our next pound for pound? We're going to put him on Mount Rushmore heavyweight because I don't think it's any of those guys. And Ngannou, maybe if he finds the way to put the power on him, but this guy is the guy with the skill set to take over a crowded heavyweight division and really create some separation. This guy could win his next 7-8 fights in a row, and I'm not going to bat an eye.
I think the thing about Gon that I'm not sold on is for 6'8", as big as he is, I mean, he doesn't really have tremendous power. He's a strong guy, but he doesn't have knockout power. He's actually never knocked anybody out with a single punch.
You know, some other guys without knockout power is Floyd Mayweather Jr., Loma.
Not selling me on no lockup.
I'm just saying there's the
I feel
and you create that skill set. You know, another guy that lacks power is Jared Jones. Really not a powerful boxer. Great feet and a good stiff jab, but does good body work. But as far as power goes, there are guys my size that will knock people out at a much better clip than I'm just not the strongest puncher. Doesn't mean you don't find ways to win. There's a lot of times Ali said the best knockout punches move 6 to 8 inches. There were the other guy's chins flying across the boop, dink, and your hand just kind of turns over. I knocked out a kid named AJ Parker, or knocked down. He said when the ref was counting, he didn't know the numbers were in order until he got to 6. That's one of my favorite Rock stories. He was like, why is this guy saying numbers to me? Oh, those are in order. Oh, I should get up. But yeah, they're coming forward and you just turn over and it's little and it's timing and it's all of those things that Floyd and Loma do so well. And we have a heavyweight version of that. Was Ali the greatest knockout puncher of all time? Oh, no. Holmes was hitting harder than he was. Foreman was hitting harder than he was. Frazier was hitting harder than he was. Lewis was hitting harder than he was. But when we talk about the greatest fighter of all time, we talk about Ali. Why? Because he shut the windows and kept you out there. Good chin. This is not going to be the guy that tests Gon. And 145 is way too low. If you're a gambler, put Cyril Gon on your parlays.
Cyril Gon's first fight in Muay Thai was literally for a championship. His first fight in MMA also was for a championship from Tony. He can be great with more experience. And I agree. Look, I think he's fantastic. But here's what I'm saying. I think the hype
Don't
train.
do it, Joe.
I think the hype train is going a little too fast. I think it's going too fast. Look, Volkov is a guy who this is going to be the best test he's gotten in his entire life. And
Which
you
one?
can the Volkov fight here for Gon. This is the
Okay.
Sure, I see what you just did there. Again, Volkov was 15 seconds away from beating Lewis, and he would have gotten a chance to fight Ngannou, not Lewis. That's how that would have gone. So
does Rosenstruck beat Lewis?
I would think so. Because
And Blades?
Yeah, well, because it happened.
So what are you talking about?
Listen, I like a guy. This is going to be the weirdest thing I've ever said. I like a guy with experience.
Oh.
That's not what I mean. I like a fighter.
Maybe you should log on to eGay and see if you can find yourself some beer.
I don't know, dude. I mean, listen, you know how I am. I usually find a guy and I love him, and I really like Gon. I know everyone's in love with the size, the athleticism. This dude only got in the fighting in his 20s. Like, this is so really new to him. He's a freak of nature. I get that. But Volkov's been in like 41 fights. He's got 22 knockouts. He's a vicious dude is all I'm saying. To me, I think Gane is going to win. I bold printed on the script. I've got Gane and I wrote UD next to his name. I think he takes this by decision.
I think he stops Volkov.
However, I think Volkov is going to pull it out. I'm going to do it.
Can't wait to see you next Saturday. This guy's getting stopped. This is going to look like a long, rangy. I hate to say Washington Generals and Harlem Globetrotters here, but have you ever watched like basketball from the 50s? I
just want to write down the timestamp, so if I'm right, I know exactly which clip to pull.
Go find it. 44.
Globetrotters General.
Hang on a second. Yeah, this is your Savant kind of Eastern European guy, right? Coming in with his stuff that doesn't work anymore. You put even me and Joe used to talk about. We watch those old basketball clips and be like, damn, when I was in high school, like if you put me just the evolution of the game. There's junior high school kids that would run circles around those guys if there was any way to do it. The game has evolved a bit past Volkov, and he's fighting a stronger guy who's better everywhere. I think Gane.
I agree with that.
I don't think Gane will go way out of his way to finish this fight. I would not bet the stoppage. But I'm picking the stoppage over the decision, over Volkov, over all of the other choices. I won't bet it, but I will pick it. I get Gone by stoppage. I don't think this long, rangy, outside your. Who else did he fight that's 6'8" and has that kind of jab and does that kind of technical work?
Volkov's
toughest test too.
He's 6'7". He's a monster too. Dude, this is two giant monsters. Yeah, and he knocked Struve's brains in. I'm telling you, there's something here. Jared, I don't know what it is. Again, on my script, I wrote unanimous decision, Ciro Gane. That's what I have here.
It's a good pick.
I'm changing it though. I'm telling you, as I created that video. I put all the work into that thing. I'm watching all these fights, and I really like Ciro Gane. I like him a lot. I think he's a force to be reckoned with for many years.
A couple 6'8" heavyweights, and you don't want the better jab, the stronger guy, the better boxer?
Dude, listen.
How does Volkov win? Hang on. Now, you're the one that's always telling people when they pick something, you tell me how. Tell me how Volkov's going to beat Gane. How is that going to happen?
You ever see two rams? Do you know rams? If you ever got hit in the head by a ram, you would die instantly.
Unless
they can sit there and they can butt heads for 7 hours without having a headache. That's how they're made. Volkov is a big dude. He's always been a big dude, and he's been doing it for a really long time. I don't know that Gane's ever seen anybody this size. Everybody he's ever fought, he's sort of towered over. That's all. Jared, I like Ciro Gane. I picked Ciro Gane, and for some reason, as I was thinking about the fight before the show started, that fight was in my head because again, I really like Ciro Gane. I just feel like I'm gonna watch this stupid pay-per-view and it's a fight night, not even a pay-per-view. I'm gonna watch the fight tonight. I'm gonna be pulling for Gane because I really like him. I do think he's rushed a little bit. And I have this weird feeling inside that something bad is gonna happen and Volkov's gonna catch him and put him out. That's what I think. That's that. I have that nagging feeling, and he's got the power to do it. Is my point.
Okay, so mine was 40-40. Yours was 44-44. Just in case we have to go back. Not going to happen, Joe. I don't think we've been further off than this. We've picked opposite before, but this is as far off as we've been because I think he's going to dominate.
I don't see a domination. I feel like another thing Gon does is Gon is good at avoiding the opponent a little bit. He moves so much, and I mean, and again, I don't mean to say like he's ducking, but I mean, most of these heavyweights, okay, Alex, I did say that before. Volkov actually wasn't a big dude when he was in his teens before he volunteered in a Russian growth experiment. What I mean to say is
real.
No, he's joking because I said Volkov. I said Volkov's always been a big guy. Was what I said. And what I meant to say is his entire career, from his first fights, dude, I got all his old fights. I'm watching all the fights. He towers over everybody. It looks like a joke, some of those fights. So that was the point that I was trying to make before. You and I don't disagree here. I think Gon's going to win this fight, and I think he's probably going to win it by decision. But there's just this nagging feeling I'm getting that Volkov's going to slip him. And I think you're not giving Volkov enough credit for being a good fighter and for the knockout power he has. That's all I'm saying. I like Gon. I think Gon's going to win. We're not really disagreeing on that. Jared, my cat ran off. He's 17. It's been 5 days. I have a nagging feeling inside that he's passed on. Okay.
Do you know why they leave the property?
Yeah. I watched a lot of lion documentaries. I think I was telling you all the lion documentaries. I mean, when they leave the pride when they die, because dignity. But he said his goodbyes.
No. They'll bring predators. They're aware that they're going to turn into food and don't want to bring danger to the rest of the pack. If your cat's dying and left the property, they did it to protect you guys.
No, yeah, and that's a beautiful thing, and I love that. But again, my wife's like, maybe he'll come back, and I'm like, nah, come on, I know, right? I know he's not coming back. I just have the more I've been thinking about this fight. I mean, again, and if it happens and he gets knocked out, say he gets slipped in the second round and lights out for Gon. After the fight, everyone's going to say they rushed this guy. He just needs a little more time. I don't think it would ruin this guy in any way, shape, or form. I can't explain it, Jared. Again, on the script, Cyril Gane, unanimous decision. That's what it says here. And I've just had this nagging feeling. I can't get rid of it.
The same way two wrestlers end up together, sometimes you end up with the better striker wins. When two wrestlers, you match them up together, something weird happens, and they end up on their feet the whole time, the better striker wins. It's, so when you get two tall guys take the better jab. That's how I feel most of the time. You get two guys that are both 6'10", and neither one of them ever fought anybody. That's all. Give me the guy that handles distance better. Give me the guy with the jab. And give me Gon here. All day.
It makes all the sense in the world. I got you. I'm with you. I don't know. I can't get rid of that feeling. Ugh. I like experience. I just do. And it makes me nervous. I like God. You know what? Listen, you're probably right. I've probably got nothing to worry about. I'm sure my cat will be home later today.
After Inoue and Trae Young, you'd think you'd start when I say, here's what's going to happen. You'd think you'd start. This is what's going to happen.
World-rated lightweight.
Slow down, world-rated lightweight. All right. Let's get to our other big fight. And this one, of course, comes courtesy of Jace, Lomachenko, and Nakatani.
Silly Lomachenko tonight in Las Vegas. Let's break it down. Masayoshi Nakatani, 32 years old. He's 5'11" with a 71-inch reach and a record of 19-1 with 13 knockouts. From Osaka, Japan, Nakatani turned pro in 2011 at the age of 22 after a brief amateur career, winning by 4th round TKO. After winning his first 6 by knockout, he defeated Yoshitaka Kato by 12-round majority decision to win the Oriental and Pacific Federation lightweight title. He defended that belt 11 times and in 2017 stopped former WBC super featherweight champion Ryan Sermona in the 4th round. On July 19th, 2019, he fought outside of Japan for the first time, coming to the United States to take on #1 contender Teofimo Lopez in an IBF title eliminator. After 12 one-sided rounds, a completely outclassed Nakatani lost a unanimous decision. He bounced back a year later, returning to the States to take on Felix Verdejo for the vacant WBO Intercontinental Lightweight title, engaging in a wild back-and-forth brawl which saw both men drop each other twice before Nakatani closed the show with a powerful right cross in the 9th round. A tall, rangy boxer puncher, Nakatani fights behind a long snapping jab and possesses both a thunderous right cross and an iron jaw, being able to fight through a massive amount of damage and take his opponents out. Vasily Lomachenko, 33 years old. He's 5'7" with a 65.5-inch reach and a record of 14-2 with 10 knockouts. From Belgorod, Ukraine, Lomachenko took up boxing at the age of 5, learning under the tutelage of his father, Anatoly. As a part of his training, he was enrolled in gymnastics and Ukrainian folk dancing to perfect his balance and footwork. In 2004, he embarked on the most illustrious amateur career in boxing history, amassing a record of 396-1, winning a myriad of world amateur titles, culminating in the gold medal at the 2008 and 2012 Olympics. He turned pro in 2013 with a 4th-round knockout of Jose Ramirez, and in his second fight he attempted to break the record for the shortest run to the world title by challenging veteran Orlando Salido for the WBO featherweight belt. However, Salido came in at the welterweight limit and continuously fouled Lomachenko, who was unable to mount a serious offense until the end, losing by split decision. Due to Salido missing weight, the WBO belt was still vacant, and on June 21st, 2014, Lomachenko dominated Gary Russell Jr. over 12 rounds to become the champion in his 3rd fight. He defended the belt 3 times and in 2016 broke the record for the shortest run to a 2nd world title when he knocked out WBO super featherweight champion Rocky Martinez with a brutal left and right hook combo. He defended the title 4 times against such renowned fighters as Nicholas Walters and Guillermo Rigondeaux, making all 4 opponents quit on their stools in between rounds. On May 12, 2018, he won his 3rd world title when he moved up to lightweight to challenge WBA champion Jorge Linares. Despite getting dropped in the 6th round, Lomachenko steadily gained momentum, breaking down Linares and stopping him with a vicious liver shot. 7 months later, he picked up the WBO belt with a dominant win over Jose Pedraza and followed that up with a brutal one-punch knockout of Anthony Crolla. 5 months later, he picked up the vacant WBC belt with a dominant win over fellow 2012 Olympian Luke Campbell. After a 14-month layoff, he took on newly crowned IBF champion Teofimo Lopez and in a surprising upset lost the first half of the fight as well as the final round, losing a wide unanimous decision. One of the finest tacticians in the sport, Lomachenko possesses blinding hand speed, exceptional timing and defense, and perhaps the finest footwork and ring IQ in boxing, in addition to having all of his professional fights except his debut being for world titles. Will Masayoshi Nakatani be able to take advantage of his size and reach, or will Vasily Lomachenko's speed and footwork prove to be too much? Tune in tonight and let's find out.
I got a funny feeling about this one, Joe. That guy's so tall. Unmute your mic.
You don't listen. Let me ask you this: you don't think that you don't think that Lomachenko has anything to worry about fighting a guy that much bigger than him? He's great, one of my faves, one of your faves. I understand that, but this is a big fight for him. There's a lot on the line here because he's talking about taking on Tank Davis and Teofimo Lopez. He better go out there and destroy this guy.
I have a joke about your brother, but I don't want to knock a Tony.
That's great.
You're welcome. Loma, all day, they have a common opponent. It might be, but yeah, these guys were tearing it up. Bunch of comedians in the comments section. If you're not following along, but this is probably not going to be close. It's again. Don't bet on this fight. Minus 1,400 for Loma. You don't want to take that bet. Not because he'll lose, but because it's just not worth it. It doesn't make sense. They get the numbers that high. You can't. Kayla Harrison was $28 to win one last night. So Loma, again, the odds are too big. I don't like any of the props because I don't know if he'll stop him or beat him by decision, but I am not taking Nakatani here. I was being sarcastic about him being so tall and having a funny feeling.
But that's legit. I think that's a legit thing. I think having to fight a taller fighter with a longer reach, even for somebody as unbelievable as Lomachenko, it is something that you have to consider. That you remember last weekend in the Inoue fight, I said he would win by the 7th. I thought being a lefty, Dasmarinas maybe might give him some fits a little bit in the beginning. No, that's fine. You completely you completely dismissed it out of hand, and you were like, blow him out in 3. You were right, but I think that those are legit concerns. I think Nakatani's size is something. Obviously, look, Lomachenko is a great fighter, and I'm sure, look, it's not like he hasn't fought taller guys before, and I'm sure he's got a game plan for how he's going to take care of business. But to dismiss the one thing this guy has, which is size and reach, is I think underselling him. This guy's not a bad fighter, This guy probably doesn't deserve to be in a ring with Lomachenko by any stretch. But
no, this guy, man. And you think he may have fought guys that tall before? You're making that assumption in his 397 amateur fights, where he lost once, disputable decision, and beat that guy the 2 other times they fought. 396-1 and avenged the loss twice. That's Loma's amateur record. Yes, I think he's dealt with this height before. I don't think it'll pose a problem for him. And if you saw how Lopez was able to dominate Nakatani in ways that he couldn't dominate Loma, like he was the bigger guy against Loma too, that may not be the case here. He's not going to size impose his way like Lopez did. I think Loma finds a way to accumulate punches and stop this guy. I don't think you're going to see the one punch knocks him out before he hits the ground knockout. But I think an accumulation of punches and body work with that tall frame, and he gets Nakatani out there. This one might be the 7th.
Okay. Yeah, I'm about with you there. I have him knocking him out in the 6th round, as a matter of fact.
Huh.
Yeah. How about you and me? Same page. I'm just saying, look, Nakatani's 19-1, 13 knockouts. I'm just saying, he's not some pushover fighter. Although I think that may end up being the case before the night's out. But I'm just saying, I just feel bad. I like this Nakatani. And watching him, I thought, This guy's not a pushover, I guess is my point. This isn't there
are better wins on his record than I thought. I'm going to say that. There are significantly better wins for Nakatani than I thought. This will be a good test. Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe it is a decision. Again, I don't like any of the prop bets. I don't like taking either guy. I don't bet on this fight. Just don't, because it's hard to tell. But yeah, Loma, over 6.
Yeah.
What's the over-under? Over 6. Take Loma in the over. There you go. Over 10.5. Yeah, I don't like it. Just don't bet that fight. Loma will win, but hard to tell by how much. Most of the rounds, 9-3 is the best Nakatani can hope for. 9-3 and goes out on his shield.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I do think he gets put out, though. All right, we got one more fight until we get to our special guest on the Flurry. Tony's tail of the tape.
This Saturday night, we have an exciting matchup in the 140-pound weight division as Gervonta Tank Davis challenges Mario Barrios for the WBA regular super lightweight world title. Let's break it down. Mario Barrios, 26 years old. He's 5'10" with a 71-inch reach and a record of 26-0 with 17 knockouts. From San Antonio, Texas, Barrios took to boxing at 6 years old, following his sister into the sport. He started his amateur career at 14 years old, and after going 7-2, turned pro at 18 in November of 2013 with a first-round knockout. He began to rise through the rankings, and after racking up his first 21 wins with 13 knockouts, he stopped Jose Roman in the 8th round to win the WBA Intercontinental World title. The following year, he completely overwhelmed Richard Zamora, pounding him along the ropes for a 4th-round stoppage, and then blew out Argentina's Juan Jose Velasco in the 2nd round with a vicious left hook to the liver, followed by a straight right cross. 5 months later, he took on Russia's Batir Akhmedov for the vacant WBA regular super lightweight title, getting pressured and outworked for most of the fight, but scored 2 knockdowns of Akhmedov to pull off a controversial decision. A little over a year later, he defended his title against Ryan Karl, completely outclassing him and dropping him twice in the 6th round, first from a right hand and the second time with a left hook, putting him out for the count. A tall, rangy boxer puncher, Barrios has a good jab and a vicious left hook and is an exceptional body puncher. Trained by the renowned Virgil Hunter, he also has a high ring IQ and is excellent at picking his opponents apart. Gervonta Tank Davis, 26 years old, he's 5'5" with a 67.5-inch reach and a record of 24-0 with 23 knockouts. From Baltimore, Maryland, Tank began training at 5 years old and by 12 had already begun his illustrious amateur career, winning 3 straight National Silver Gloves Championships, the 2012 Golden Gloves Championships, and 2 gold medals at the National Junior Olympics, finishing with an excellent record of 206-15. He turned pro in February 2013 with a first-round knockout and won his first 13 with 12 knockouts when he brutally stopped former IBF champion Cristobal Cruz in 3 rounds in 2015. He won his next 3 by stoppage before taking on Jose Pedraza for the IBF super featherweight title, dominating the champ from the start and knocking Pedraza out in the 7th with a perfectly timed right hook. He defended that belt twice, first with a 3rd-round TKO over Liam Walsh, and then an 8th-round knockout of Francisco Fonseca, before winning the WBA super featherweight title with a vicious beatdown of champion Jose Queller, dropping him 3 times to force the stoppage in round 3. After 2 title defenses, a first-round knockout of Hugo Ruiz and a 2nd-round TKO of Ricardo Nunes, he took on former 2-time champion Yuriorkis Gamboa, dropping him in the 2nd and 8th rounds before stopping him in the 12th. On October 31st, 2020, he scored the Ring Magazine Knockout of the Year when he won the WBA super featherweight world title with a thunderous one-punch left uppercut in the 6th round. A hard-hitting southpaw, Tank possesses tremendous one-punch power in both hands, as well as speed, but his greatest asset may be his ability to gauge distance and economically pick his shots instead of swinging wildly. Will the height and reach advantage of Barrios present challenges to Tank, or will Davis's dazzling hand speed and tremendous punching power bring him gold in a 3rd weight division? Tune in Saturday night for Davis versus Barrios for the WBA regular super lightweight world title.
All right. Boy, first and foremost, I want to say I like that Tank is doing this to move up, fighting a guy like Barrios who's in his prime. I've been dogging these guys, Jared. I've been dogging these guys because they don't want to fight anybody. I gotta hand it to Tank. This is a bold move. He's giving up 5 inches to a guy in his prime who, even though it's not a real one, is a belt belt holder.
This is a tough test for Tank. A taller guy moving up 2 weight classes to fight him, and has deteriorated as a boxer. Now, I've been down on Tank Davis for a while, and in watching some more videos, I'll tell you why. He was a better amateur boxer than he is as a professional. He took the hats off. He trusts his power. He loses rounds. He's outboxed by most good boxers, and this is a great boxer. I'm going to give you this fight back in the day. Do you remember still fighting Chocolatito Gonzalez? He fought a guy, I can never pronounce the guy's name right, Wisakil Wangik or something. But it was a bigger guy that came down, and he came up, and he was like a 35-1 favorite. And for some reason, those 5 losses on the other guys were all they were looking at. They weren't looking at this weight jump. I think Tank Davis must knock out Barrios to win this fight. I don't think he can win this fight by decision because he's fighting a bigger, longer, better boxer. That being said, he's also moving up 2 weight classes. How will his power transfer to a top 10 guy 2 weight classes ahead of him? All of that said, take Barrios for the upset. And bet it.
Ooh. Wow. Yeah, I love it, Jared. I love it. I am going to take Gervonta Davis in this fight. I thought a lot about it, honestly. I mean, look, like I said,
what's the total access? I gotta say, one of these guys is in the city. Their trainer, like Tank's trainers, sparred with each other. It was this funny thing. Had an argument in the corner and then sparred with each other. You know, Barrios' strength and conditioning coach showed up, and he was like, "Hey, no disrespect, but I hate seeing you here." And he was like, "I don't need to be your friend. I just need you to win." There was no hi or handshake. That's what those 2 dudes said to each other. "I hate seeing you here." Well, win. I don't care if I'm your friend or not. We're going to go win a fight. 2 totally different training styles, totally different training camps. Rocky tried to make a big deal of that when one of them was the high tech and the shots and the juicing and and everything was measured, and the other guy's moving rocks and cutting down trees and stuff. But that's what we've got here. And at some point, that size and that focus makes a difference. And Tank's going to lose one of these. Tank is going to be beat because he's not as good a boxer as some of these other guys, because he's moving up weight classes. This is all of the makings of a perfect storm here. Just got arrested, indicted, 14 counts, hit and run. Now you're fighting a champion 2 weight classes above. And yes, you have to respect that he's going after it. I agree with that part. But I think he loses this as such. This is a Chad Dawson moving down to fight Ward, or Chocolatito moving up, or Trinidad when he came up, and just wasn't. A lot of guys have done this and failed. This is MMA. We just did one in MMA. Adesanya. Adesanya moves up, better fighter, unworldly style bender, bigger guy. Bigger guy gets beat by a good, tough, bigger guy. That's what happens to Tank tonight.
Now, why do you? Nah, this is tough, Jared. This is
Why
tough.
not? Go ahead.
This is tough. I mean, again, Barrios has more experience, more fights, hasn't quite faced up to the same level of competition, but I don't know, man.
I'll give you another example. 42-1 underdog, right? And you have the other guy is smaller. He's stout. He knocks everybody out. Think of a small, stout heavyweight that knocks everybody out. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. Got arrested, right? Had all those things happen wrong. Fought a bigger guy who was a better boxer, who just lost his mom and lost as a 42-1 favorite to Buster Douglas. This is that kind of fight where you have to look at those other things and say, this is a perfect storm for this guy to get mentally, physically. He's taking all of these disadvantages and then fighting a guy who's off in the woods and focused on nothing but beating you while you're out signing autographs. Like this is the perfect storm. Tank Davis loses his fight, and that's where I'm putting my money to.
Yeah, I think I don't, because I don't even like Tank Davis. I am not a Tank Davis fan. I am not in love with this guy, but this guy finds ways to win, and I think he's gonna. I think this is gonna be the fight where he gets exposed. I think I think like with Haney, I think he'll win the fight. Yeah. But I think it'll be like, nah, Tank's not that good.
There's some holes there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think Barrios is just exactly the guy to put the kind of beating on Davis that this would either make him a better fighter or the trajectory will continue to be a little wonky. You beat a guy like Barrios, and all of a sudden you're like, I knew I was the greatest. Like,
we're going to be back here next week talking about who Barrios makes sense to fight next, and we're going to be talking about the Haneys and the Ryan Garcias out there as the next fight for Mario Barrios. This is his Teofimo Lopez versus Loma type fight, and he's going to be in the 26-0 wasn't good enough for us to talk about you, Mario. 27-0 will be.
Jeez. This is a tough week. Not having the Jace buffer zone here, I think, made it a little bit tough.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
I didn't realize what he was bringing. Don't know what you got till it's gone.
All right. So I guess we talk some best bets.
Yeah. New segment,
puncher's chance. Because you know what, Jared? Everybody does the best bet. That's stupid. Yeah. This is the puncher's chance. Because this is a
puncher's
fight
chance. I got to tell you, puncher's chance just barely beat out Lucky Punches.
Ooh.
Lucky Punches. But here's how you bet this. All right. I don't know if you've got $400 or $4,000 or $4 million or whatever, but this is how I bet my $40. Okay. Apucci fights Sunday. The rest of these are on Saturday. 25 to win 17 on Apucci and Lubin. Then you put 5 on Apucci, Lubin, and Brandt, 5 on Apucci, Lubin, and Barrios, and then 5 on all 4. If you win all 4, it's a $200 upswing. If you win just Apucci and Lubin, you win $2. And any other combination of 3 turns into a much better win. But Apucci and Lubin to cover the other bets, and Brandt and Barrios for the upsets. That's the puncher's chance.
I love it. I'll throw you my one. I got one pick. My puncher's chance is Alexander Volkov. As I said, 41 fights, 22 by knockouts. Gon has 8 fights in MMA, 7 as a kickboxer. Just, I don't know.
I don't know how we got back here, but if I pick one MMA fight, one bettable MMA fight, it's to take Gon at minus 145.
I like plus 125 on Volkov. I just do. Don't hate me. God.
All right. We'll be back. Right. 44-44.
hope you're really writing that down. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to break it off with some flurry time. Rocky Hill Accountants offers a unique, low-pressure approach to professional and personal services, which is why they have an excellent client retention rate and are extremely proud of the high-quality services that their firm provides. The executive team at Rocky Hill Accountants has over 35 years of combined experience in income tax preparation, bookkeeping, accounting, and IT crypto tax. They specialize in individual income tax preparation, as well as trusts, estates, and gift tax returns. The tax deadline for individuals is May 17th. If you're one of the 50 million Americans who still hasn't filed, visit RockyHillAccountants.com. All right, we are back. Jared, it's time for the flurry. Why don't you do your thing?
Ladies and gentlemen, veteran of Scrub Scraps at this point started without the youngest Scrub Scraps fighters ever were 10-year-old Trinity versus 9-year-old Skylar. Trinity's my daughter. Skylar is his son. Third place for youngest fighter ever is 14-year-old Steven Youngblood Curtis. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good.
Good to hear.
You're a monster. Oh, my God. Look at the size of this guy. Were you like that at Scrub Scraps? Holy smokes.
No, I was probably about 115 pounds, 14 years old, swinging with the best of them. I mean, I came in the underdog of underdogs.
Oh, yeah.
I was a little guy back then for sure. Billy DeCarly, he got me in. Was hanging out with him. He was like an older brother growing up, and that's how I met Jared and Will and Little, and just showing up on the Sundays every third Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. Now, I remember in the beginning, the first time you fought, it was Little Chris.
I called that one out.
Was,
he was the only one my size, but he had 10, 12 years of age on me,
A lot of you weren't, I gotta say, you don't feel like that was a unique experience to walk into Scrub Scraps and point to somebody and go, hey, I'll fight that guy. With 5'5", 140-pound Billy DeCarly, 5'5", 135 Little Chris. Will was 145. Buju was 160. Like the biggest of those bangers that would knock you out was 5'9", 160. So
right.
A lot of people walked up and went, yeah, I'll fight that guy. After that,
I love Alex Prue. He is
225.
Meet me at 225, Steve. I'll fly out
man, 225. Oh man, I'd probably need about another 4 years. Hold tight, Alex.
So after that, we had a better idea of what we were working with. And again, we're a 14-year-old, 115-pound kid. His next few fights were like Billy, the guy that brought him there, was actually one of my losses. Was a 5-round decision to Billy as Scrub Scraps. And then me and people that weren't going to go out there and kill him. And
right,
then as we went along, we were able to get him really competitive fights. A trilogy with this kid named Brady. That was really
I forgot about Brady. That's right. Call him. I want a rematch.
He's probably still 150, big dog.
That's not my problem. I mean,
right up to his latest fight with Wes, I think he's got 7 or 8 total Scrub Scraps, and is really one of the guys that he wasn't there like for the beginning of Scrub Scraps, not like a pioneer of the program, but in his life, he was one of the people that I wasn't catching at their mid-20s, Unlike Pax, he was participating in the program. Unlike Skylar or Trinity, who was kind of participating in the Scrub Scraps program. And at 14 years old, that made for, can't off the top of my head come up with anybody. I mean, Ray was younger when he started. There was that little group with Mike and Ray and them, but this was, you know, hence the nickname Youngblood. It wasn't just a clever nickname. You know, he walked in and said 14. I was like, all right, well, we got a nickname for this kid. And he's been Youngblood ever since.
This guy. We'll figure it out. Hey, hop in that ring. There's a mouth guard gloves. Let's go. You know, I mean, that's the only way to do it. It's the only way to do it. Get in there. That's it.
Now,
that's how I learned to drive trucks.
What would you say about the difference that experiencing the Scrub Scraps program has made in your life?
Oh, man, confidence, 100% confidence. You know, being younger and being able to grow up hanging out with an older group, get to learn. You learn a lot, especially in the ring. I mean, just knowing that I can come into something a lot younger. I knew everybody was 10 to 12 years older than I was. So that one thing about life with my confidence, it's like, you know what? That built me up where I know that I was able to get in there with a lot better fighters than me. I came in, I knew nothing about boxing. Nothing. You know, I grew up a little bit with a karate background, but when I came into boxing, it was 100% brand new, didn't know much about it. But I'd say throughout the years, you know, yeah, I lost all my fights. You know, it's fine. It is what it is. But I knew in life, if I was able to walk in there with the best of the best, in my opinion, looking at all you guys, you know, it's like, I was at this age being able to throw with these guys. Like, yeah, I'm sure everybody took it a little easy. I was young, you know, but point being, I was able to hold my own at a much higher level.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and those are long fights. You didn't. I mean, Will is a banger. And Will's been stopped 3 or 4 times. Like, you have never been stopped. I realized that coming up to this podcast, that you're 0-8, 0-7. Never been 0-7 and never been stopped. Finished every fight. And the 3 with Brady and the last one with Wes, like, you had some really close fights that could have went either way. But that's the victories in the ring. And the defeats don't always translate to victories and defeats in life. And I know that 14-year-old kid, I can see tools that you use now in your life that I feel like came from those experiences, because that kid I met in the beginning, he didn't have it. He was the toughest kid in the room every single time and didn't know how to fight from the bottom, you know, or to stand on the top. Didn't have either one of those skills, and now you've kind of, I mean, I can see it. It's been fun to watch. It's been fun to watch you grow up, brother, in a way that I didn't get to watch a lot of other people, because they were 20-something when I got them, you know.
Absolutely, man. It's been a pleasure for sure. I mean, I know we're in future gonna get back in the ring, and you know, it'll be hopefully a better outcome. But this time around, I'm picking and choosing my fights. I'm not just gonna say, okay, yeah, I'll take that fight. No, we're gonna strategize a little more. All right.
do a little bit of management.
Yeah. But that was the thing. Me growing up, it was I wasn't a tough kid or anything, but like, I knew I could just get in there with anybody. You know, whatever, I'll do it. Let's go. You know, I was hungry.
Survive it. Yeah.
So, Steven, you said you had a karate background, not necessarily into fighting. You come out for a scrub scrap and absolutely fall in love with it. What was the charm? I know Jared's an amazing person, but what was it exactly where you were like, oh, yeah, this?
The brotherhood. You know, it didn't matter if we were competing against each other. It was just the simple fact of how close everybody was. You know, we had this group when I started in with you guys. I think there was maybe like 15 to 20, somewhere around there. But it was definitely the friendship, the brotherhood. This is way before any of us even had kids of our own. We were still the kids. So just being able to go through life, and you got all these guys. We still get together, not like we did back then, unfortunately. But now we're older, and I'm 31 now, so 17 years ago was the first time I stepped in that ring. And here we are, 17 years later, still talking, and it's good to be able to still have that brotherhood.
Man, you just made me emotional talking about it, because I feel like that was kind of like, I felt like if I had something like that to walk into when I was 14, like, that's the part that I would have seen and been like, I want to be a part of this. I need to be a part of something like this. The camaraderie that we were able to build. With just everybody that came and participated. It's just like a family, it's beautiful.
Yeah. It's funny, when you learn in life, you'll learn that a lot of people will, talk up until it's time to actually step in that ring. It makes a huge difference. A lot of people, and that's talking outside of boxing. I'm just saying in life, a lot of people say, I'm going to do this, this, and this, but never duck under. Never put their leg over and
follow
under,
through.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, just with my own personal life, I've always set these goals for my own career, my own standards, my own life, and I've been able to meet them. And this all stems from discipline from childhood and growing up. So, it's all about having that goal and making it, and then setting that next one and keep climbing.
Oh yeah, next right step.
Steven, everybody who comes on from Scraps, and I baited you with the question. I assumed you were going to talk about the camaraderie. I mean, there's just something about that feeling of belonging. You talked about the boosting of confidence, right? Being around these older guys that I'm sure Jared seemed really cool at the time. His ship is sailed now, but back then I could see where a young blood would look up and be like, wow, that guy's amazing. But yeah, what do you think it is about dudes punching each other in the face that develops such amazing camaraderie?
Simple. I mean, whether I win or lose, when we walk out of that ring, we're still friends. We're not, nobody's running their mouth, oh, I beat you or I beat you. And I don't think anything's ever even said outside of that ring. Ever. It's not, because we don't go in there. I mean, yes, we go in there to win. That's what we're there to do. But when it leaves the ring, it's brotherhood. We're not bragging, we're not saying this, we're not saying that, because you got to remember, inside of that ring and outside of that ring is two totally different things. I may be better outside of it, or I might be better inside of it. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to a fighting aspect, you know what? I like to wrestle. I'm a pretty good wrestler. I ain't the greatest boxer, but I like to get inside. I like to be aggressive. It's kind of my thing. I'm not that good as a boxer, but we're learning still.
What do you think? What do you think happens if you remove that part of your life?
Say that again?
Just listening to you talk about, it's kind of a follow-up question. What do you think happens? Who is Youngblood? If they're without Youngblood, who is Stephen Curtis? If you can somehow remove Scraps from your life, where are you? What do you become? What's the difference?
Less able to, I'd say definitely less able to fight some of the battles I've fought in life, especially due to the fact that, like I had said from the beginning, with 14-year-old Steven getting into the ring, that built a lot of my confidence. I was able to come out swinging, and that was a big part of my life growing up. Like, now I'm not afraid of you or you. You know what I'm saying? It was a good build. Where would I be now? Probably not as confident, for sure. You know, but that's one thing about life that I learned. You need to have your confidence to reach your next goals. You know, if you don't really shoot for it, then it's not going to happen.
You can't knock anybody out if you're not swinging. It's funny. I watch fights all the time where I'm thinking, where a guy's getting dominated, and I'm thinking, throw something that might make a difference.
That's one thing
they
that's
keep
going on
these
with
things that aren't going to change the tide, but they're kind of keeping them in it, but not going to change anything. If you're going to go down, put some ammunition out there that might make a difference. Start to put your pea shooter away and throw a grenade, because what you're doing isn't working. And that kind of learn on the fly, and like, I'm sure I wouldn't be able to, do the navigating that I'm capable of without the boxing background.
Absolutely. And that's one thing with Skyler. I mean, he just made his first year of All-Stars baseball, so we're very proud of him for that. Yes, he's finally hit. He's 13. He got a little taller. He's getting a little bigger. But one thing I'm trying to drill into his head is we swing for the fences, make good contact. He likes to. He's small, and I think he's still a little afraid of the ball once in a while, which, hey, that's cool. I get it. You got 60-mile-an-hour fastball coming to your head, But one thing I'm trying to drill in him is financial intelligence, for one. We have a lot of financial talks because that's very important. And swinging, all around. And this is baseball. This is inside baseball, outside of baseball. We got to go for everything we want, no matter what.
Well, and I think that's where sport in general, people say it helps develop character. Because it's really a lot of the things I talk about from scrub scraps you could get anywhere. That opening of trauma doesn't really happen with baseball. It doesn't. And then when it does, because you're scared of the ball, you're just kind of left out there with a bat. Which right. I could get into the psychology of that, but another time. It's actually safer in that instance. Boxing is actually a safer activity for the psychology of the athlete. But,
I learned a lot.
I think you're right. If you don't, you can't walk every time. Some people are going to throw strikes, and you're going to have to swing the bat, That's right. And when you're able to get in there, when you're able to look at that group of dudes and go, that one's almost my size, I'll fight him. At 14 years old, and then you're 20 and have to figure out in a slow pitch softball league whether you want to swing the bat or not. You know what I'm saying? You're in college baseball and figuring out whether you're on the diving board at summer camp. And you're trying to figure out whether to take the plunge, and everybody's kind of staring at you. And you can do those things based on the fact that when it was a fight, you walked in there and we rang the bell. Yeah. And when we rang the last bell, you were still standing there. Oh, wow. Stopped in the first fight. So 7 decisions, though. Which is fair. Little Chris is a monster, dude. That's my draw, by the way. That's one of my 2 draws.
That was a right that I'll never forget. My head went like this, like when I got hit. It was my first initial, and I just remember, like, I was dazed, and my gloves went like this. Like,
that video, the best part of that video for me wasn't the punch. I actually didn't like the punch. I talked to Little Chris about it afterward, because you kind of were taking an extra step and turning back to face him when he threw it, But the funniest part of that video was the people behind you, because they were so close to the ropes that when you got hit and went like this, all of their heads were, it looked like everybody in that row got hit. But I know that we've got something special here. Last week I said I feel like we built a bridge from the sick and broken and dysfunctional people that we were to the strong and confident and happy and successful people that we are today. And Scrub Scraps is that bridge, and as soon as the rest of the world removes the do not enter sign off of our bridge, we'll start walking people across it again, and they'll go from broken to functional, because that's what we're really doing there at the end of the day.
You know, yeah, and one of my favorite aspects of it is, like I said, we keep it in the ring. Like, when we walk outside that ring, we're all talking, back to, what we do as a whole, as friends, like there's no Steven, you lost this, Steven, you lost this, Steven, I never heard that from anybody,
Oh yeah.
it's
Even the
embarrassing.
judging
It's
is very
embarrassing
rare.
not, you know, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you know what? Somebody starts saying that you get in there with Jared, you get in there with Billy DeCarly, you
I
get in there with yeah.
Were you there when Phil Feltenberger, a kid named Ian Sharon, was on the sideline, and Phil Feltenberger's fighting Scott. Actually, my wife's brother is fighting Phil Feltenberger, and Phil's kind of putting a whooping on him. And Ian's going, "You drank too much Jaeger last night. I told you, dude." He says, "Watch out for the left." Oh, I tried to warn you. He's laughing at him and just going up from the sideline. During the fight, Phil takes a little jab step, and when Scott backs up, he reaches over onto the desks, grabs the wrist wraps, throws them at Ian with the glove on, and says, "Wrap your wrists up. When he's done, you can show him what you're talking about." Yeah. Get out of here. Beautiful,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely beautiful experience, man. Definitely a beautiful, beautiful thing that we're all able to do, and I'm looking forward to it being back. I mean, it's been off for a few years, but
I'd say not funniest, one of the craziest fights was Will Brand and was it Dub Dub?
Oh yeah. Who might be on next week, by the way.
Wait, do what?
Spoiler alert, Dub Dub might be next week's guest. But Will fought Mike Patriz and James Walcott and the biggest guys. Yeah, but Dub Dub was one of them.
It was.
We actually just reviewed that fight with Will. Will was on here a week or two ago.
I mean, he did something like this. He dropped his shoulder and came all the way back. Next thing you see him just come around. I just remember he would drop that shoulder and turn.
That fish wiggle, we call it. If you hold a fish by the tail, it goes like this. Will does that in basketball and in boxing. He's got this little fish wiggle he does. It's cool though. He makes it work. So yeah, that was a great fight. But hey,
one thing with boxing, no box is the same. We all move differently. We all have our own game, our own strategy. It's like, I mean, for me, I'm a truck driver. That's what I do. I love trucking. We all do the same thing, but very different ways.
Yeah, well, and your own aspects of your character and your personality and your conditioning come out when you do those things. It's just a lot easier to see when you put somebody in a boxing ring.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate you.
Wait, hold on. Jace isn't here. Somebody has to ask the question. If you could talk to somebody about Scrub Scraps to get them to go to it, what would be your pitch?
Oh man, what can I say on air? Hang on. No, seriously, my pitch would be, you know what? It's not for everybody, but it is for most. A lot of the younger generation. I mean, we got a lot of testosterone, so you want to release some of that, and you think you're as tough as you are, step in that ring. And like I said, it all stays in the ring. We don't take this outside of there. And that's the best part about it. My pitch would be pretty much something along those lines, come try it out, and join the brotherhood, really, because that's what it's really about at the end of the day. It ain't about, winning or losing, until you're in the ring. But outside of that, well, what a great time we have. How many picnics have we had? Wiffle ball, fishing buddies, swimming, going here, doing this. I can name just thousands of memories with different individuals of this same group that I still converse with to this day.
Well done. Good answer. Hey, I appreciate you, Youngblood, man.
Stephen
Beautiful.
Youngblood Curtis, thank you for being with us, man. We really do appreciate it. Jace Garcia, we hope you feel better or not. I guess that would be preferable. I kid. I know. I'm just.
We missed you, Chase. We missed you, Chase. We'll see you next week, my brother.
Make sure you check us out. The Facebook page, Throwing Jabs. Our one of the tape videos, 9,000 views last week. So we have arrived on the scene at this point as far as combat sports shows are concerned. Throwing Jabs is part of the CMG Sports Network. For more, visit clovercrestmedia.com for over 40 different podcasts, including a dozen like this one that are sports themed. For Jared Jones, I'm Joe McGuire. We will catch you next Saturday at 10 o'clock right here on Throwing Jabs.
Throwing jabs, always full send. Here we go again. Jared, Joe, and Jay's Clovercrest, top 3 corner man, punching in with a puncher's chance. We find a way to win. The main event, locked it in every Saturday at 10. The overhand is out of hand when it comes to fisticuffs. Slide a hand on the undercard, you'll never see the punch. Uppercut, got you missing weight, feet are stepping late. Keep your guard up, feeling faint from a feint. Take a stand and eight, then retaliate. Put up your duke, stick and move, bob and weave. Don't lose hope against the ropes, there's always an escape. Never stay down. One more round, bells ringing, counter punch with your chin tucked and go down swinging. We bringing crosses with no worship, hooks with no verses, combinations with no locks. When you feel the flurry, it's curtains. From scrub scraps to fight stats, relax if you want the facts, cause the best combat podcast is Throwing Jabs.